performance, certainly than the first leg, but they just didn't have enough tonight.
No, they didn't. I think PSG showed a quality, and I don't think they were brilliant tonight. Actually, I think they showed a quality over the two legs. But when they needed to sort of, up the game, they did it. Liverpool huffed and puffed. We were still, none the wiser in terms of the formation, the tactics of them. But put in a better show because they worked a little bit harder. But that's a prerequisite of football anyway.
I suppose it's hard, Daniel. All season that's their 17th defeat of the season, and they haven't shown the form and class that they've shown in the last few years. Certainly, the form they showed to win the title last year. It was a lot to expect them to move up to that level tonight.
Yeah, and I think the expectation at the start of the season was that they would kick on, but the signings coming in and that continuity has lacked this season. I think the performance tonight, was full of drive, was full of passion, and the guys worked tirelessly, and you have to give them credit for that. Unfortunately, the result didn't go their way, but they can be proud of how they worked. They gave everything, and the result didn't go their way.
And of course, they lost Hugo Ekitike in the process. Mo Salah coming on early into the game, Wayne, but even he couldn't really make an impression.
No, he couldn't. I think Liverpool lacked a little bit of ideas in the final third, and it was all played in front of PSG. PSG showed the quality towards the end, and let Liverpool try and almost blow themselves out of the leg, and then PSG just had to be a bit patient and make one or two passes, and they were in so many times towards the end.
You were at both legs now. You were there last week, of course, Clarence. Different performance from PSG tonight.
Yeah, different. But even last week, it was really Liverpool that gave too much space away. And what I can say about PSG is that they know how to take advantage of the spaces that are left from the adversaries. They have no problem to sit, wait until that moment appears, and then they are very, very cynical.
On 64 minutes, there was a penalty incident that the referee decided was indeed a penalty, and then was asked to go and check, and it was overturned. This could have really changed the game, Wayne, because it was still goalless at this point, of course.
Yeah, I think it was soft when the referee gave it, but I think after giving it, I don't think it should go to VAR. I think it should have stood. It should have been a penalty, and Liverpool really unfortunate not to get that penalty at that 0-0 in tonight's game. That if they get that, they score. I think that it's a different game, maybe a different outcome, but to overturn it after he's given it, you can see there's clear contact on McAllister, and I think that was the wrong decision.
None of you were screaming for this, Robbie, even you, and you didn't seem, incandescent with rage when it was overturned, but the energy would have changed, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think PSG were on the ropes a little bit, because I think Liverpool had, threw a few balls into the box, causing a little bit of chaos. I mean, that is a real game changer. Did I think it was a penalty? It was a soft one, but I mean, as Wazza says there, I don't think he can change it. I mean, VAR has probably not done the job there. It's harsh, but the referee's giver, whether he's unsighted.
And McAllister had done well, Daniel.
I think it's a pen. That's what I think. It's clear contact. If it's on VAR and you can see the contact, then it's a penalty. You can say that the action is to get his body across, which is, as an attacker, that's what you do.
Normal.
You know what I mean? So if the contact's there and the ball's coming to me, then it's a penalty. Simple as that.
Clarence?
I agree, but I mean, at the end, it's not enough. You cannot rely on this moment to get past a team that has created more than 12, 13 chances against you, scored 3 goals again. So, it would have changed for sure the dynamics, but it would maybe not have been enough still. We don't know.
Of course, of the Champions League all season, but for Liverpool it is over. They couldn't find the goals necessary to overturn that 2-goal lead that PSG brought here from the first leg, and it's the first time since he came here to Liverpool that he has lost back-to-back matches on a slot. There was a boost beating Fulham, of course, in the Champions League, and there was a boost beating Fulham at the weekend, but this is a team that's been inconsistent all season.
They have, but they've shown moments of brilliance. And there was a period where they were winning games and it felt good. But if we're being honest with ourselves, have they been at the levels that they've set throughout the last couple of seasons? Specifically last year, they were very, very good. They're not the same team as they were last year. Of course, everybody knows that. But, they've got to finish the season well, obviously make sure they get in the Champions League. And then next season have to be ready to go. It's as simple as that.
What are the big differences, Robbie, for you this season? Why has their identity been so hard to place and say this is the Liverpool style?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams have sort of not worked Liverpool out, but if you think of Liverpool last season, they're probably playing on the back of a Jurgen Klopp team. So I think teams going into playing Liverpool, I wish the team had more fight than when I had that umbrella. But when teams were playing Liverpool last year, it was obviously Jurgen Klopp's team. So they were focused on that. But this year, it's now Arne Slot's team. So they're focused on the formations and the tactics. For me, I think it's irrelevant. But I think teams have maybe worked Arne Slot out a little bit.
I think it's body language. And I've said this early on in the season. I think the body language of Liverpool players hasn't been the same as it was last season. Under Jurgen Klopp in the last season, they didn't win the league. So I think it's too easy to say that that was Jurgen Klopp's team. I think they won the league with Arne Slot last season. I just think the body language, the mentality looked a little bit different last season.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say, though, in terms of last year when teams were playing? They were still, I know Jurgen never won it the year before, but teams were thinking that he's not really going to change that much because, you know, you're essentially just come off the back of winning the league and having this great team.
We also need to remember, and we haven't said it tonight, the loss of Diogo Jota in the summer. It clearly impacted the players emotionally at the beginning of the season, and that's something that is a personal journey, isn't it? And you don't know who's being affected at what time. And of course, you know, as a team, that was a devastating thing to deal with. That takes a while to come through.
Yeah, everybody's journey dealing with grieving is different, and we can't take away from the fact that just because these are professional footballers that they're supposed to be robots. They've lost a friend, a family member, somebody who they all dearly loved, as well as the fan base. So as much as we want to talk about, you know, the performances and the psychology and to the body language and all these different types of things, everybody grieves in different ways, and it takes everybody to recover. And you can't recover from something like that, you know? It's a tragic moment, and yeah, you know.
And of course, those big signings who came in on the back of that, didn't they, Clarence? And you know, it was obviously a very difficult thing to do, but they haven't maybe gelled as well as would have been liked. And of course, there's been injury as well to Isak.
Yeah, I mean, all unfortunate things and all reasons to explain this transition year, which is pretty normal. When Klopp came, he also needed a few years to really mold the team and get the team where he really wanted. I think that Slot did really well to use whatever was there already, don't change too much. I think that intelligence was amazing to come in and keep the things going and add some stuff where he thought it was needed. But if you look at this year, it's actually pretty normal. They still performed. You're still in the quarterfinal. You lose against, you know, the former champion of the Champions League, and I think that hopefully you'll do well enough to have another chance next season, and then to really build and have more time with all the players adapted to the new situation.
I don't think this is a time for like negativity either, though. I know, of course, the big injury for Ekitike tonight, which is a huge moment, but we're talking about a group of players who are building together. Yes, there is a transitional moment, but the quality of the players the club have purchased does give you hope that they can, you know, get back to their level quickly. I don't think this is talking about rebuilds, and when people talk about rebuilds, they think 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I don't anticipate that to be the case. Oh, no. But you know, I think the signings they've got top-level young players who they believe in, and I truly believe the club can get back to the level that we know they should be at.
I think if you're talking about rebuild to the champions from last season, so they won the league last season and they've spent an awful lot of amount of money.
A record amount of money for
to try and make the squad better. So there's certainly been faults from whether that's recruitment, and obviously they've had players out injured, but you shouldn't be talking about a rebuild when you've just won the Premier League. I think they've lost some really good players who were. You see why the fans were so upset when they lost Trent.
Wayne, I need to just pause you there because we can get some more reaction from Liverpool, because Gabriel was Ibrahima Konate.
Yeah, Ibrahima 4-0 on aggregate over the two games. Is that a fair reflection?
To be honest, we can say yes and no, because when we played there, they had many chances and they only scored 2. But we knew at Anfield we can maybe do something special. And today we create many chances, and I think on the pitch we were the better team today. That's why it's a little bit unfair. It's like the last season when we play home, we create many chances. We had so many opportunity to score. But at the end, they had maybe 1 or 2 clear chances and they just score. But this is football, and yeah, sad.
You have a real momentum in the second half. A penalty is awarded. Was it a clear and obvious error? Does the VAR need to get involved there?
I think last season we had a penalty like that with I think Jota. I don't remember which game exactly. Sorry. And yeah, for me it was a clear penalty. I was just behind the referee at the VAR. But he didn't blow the whistle, he didn't say it's a penalty, then we have to deal with that. But I think at this moment, if we get a penalty and we score, it's completely different.
What do these 2 games tell you going out to PSG about Liverpool's level against the best in Europe?
We have to be happy because we had many players who came back from injury, like Isaac and many other players. Ekitike, I'm very sad for him, and I hope he will come back. To be fair, I think it's bad. I don't know. Yes. I heard many things, but I have no word to talk about that because with the World Cup, all of things who is coming this summer, it's very, very hard for him at this moment. Then I send him my prayer and everything. But I forgot the question, sorry. Yeah,
Liverpool's level, do you feel it's dropped compared to last season, Premier League champions, compared to the standards you've set?
Yeah, a little bit. After, we don't have to forget what happened this season for us. Many things happened, and we don't have to forget that. And we bring new players, all of these things. But the game of today mean a lot of things because against PSG, and I think the PSG of this season is a little bit better than the season before. And to make a performance like that against them, I don't say we have to be happy because we lost, but we have to build from that and realize how good we can be.
And now, of course, you have to get back into this competition. There's 6 very important games, aren't there, in the Premier League to come? It's sort of unthinkable Liverpool won't be back in this competition. A lot to play for.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a minimum standard for Liverpool to play the Champions League. We have 6 games left. And during this 6 games, we have to give all in. And we know how it's difficult. It's the Premier League, but we have to give all in to be in Champions League next season again.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, a difficult season, but he sums it up well there, doesn't he, Daniel? Champions League qualification for next season is crucial.
That's what we talked about earlier on. You know, as much as we can dwell on tonight, you got to move forward, switch your mentality now. You got big games coming up, vital games for the club to ensure you're in the Champions League. And, you know, the players have to lock in. They have to focus. There's no time to waste. And these other teams are just as hungry as they are to prove, you know, their level. Chelsea, I watched them at the weekend, and, you know, it's the same for them.
OK, and they, of course, we're talking about rebuild before. He's talking about his contract negotiations. So, you know, were you surprised to hear him talk about that then?
Yeah, I'm surprised to see him come out and talk after the game. I think, you know, I don't think I've ever heard Konate do an interview in his time being at Liverpool. So it would have been nice to see one of the leaders come out. And, you know, when you go out in a competition, you want to hear from one of the leaders. And listen, I know they do a lot of the interviews, but I think that was probably the wrong time for Konate to come out and do that interview.
It's not just important for the players who are here, it's about attracting players to Champions League football, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think we talk about expectation levels at big clubs. It's a prerequisite you are in the Champions League. When you get there, you can attract them. But I'm not sure of Liverpool's model, because I know the lads have talked before about obviously bringing £400 million worth into that first team. I think football now tells you that you should be building a squad, and that's one of probably Liverpool's problems this year. Was I've tried to build that first 11, but then you look at the depth and it's not there, is it? You know, you looked at the bench, and you know, after obviously Rio came on, you're sort of thinking, what else can he do here? I think that's the problem with Liverpool. Not the first 11, because a fit first 11 will give anyone a game. But then it's the squad depth.
He is certainly a bright spark and a great hope for Liverpool, isn't he? And he showed some of that class tonight.
He is. I think he's a fantastic young player, and I've said this before, it's always nice to see young players get given opportunities, and I think this season has been a good step for him, but next season he needs to be pushing needs to be pushing
Where are you
to
going
to
now,
be
eh?
to be playing on a regular basis, and I think he will do.
Is he fouling you there?
Yeah, he just wants to escape. See?
It's funny actually because you talk about young players. So young players come into the game, and you're talking about next year could be like a real pivotal moment in his career. From a management point of view, does he play a lot more games, or we look at Isak tonight? Isak played 45 minutes. Is that the manager's decision, or is that the sports science decision, and will that play effect into Rio's career next year?
Maybe both. I think sports science have a big say now, but Arne Slot, future of the club could be on. So I think as a manager you need to take control and say, listen, I'm not saying that was the case, but listen, you play as long as you can.
I agree.
And if you can't do it, you can't. I'll take it off.
Position at the club could be on the line?
I mean, Champions League football dictates that, doesn't it? If you don't get in, then there's serious questions. But I mean, as Daniel said, I think tonight is not really the time to reflect on Arne Slot. I think questions will be asked, of course.
Well, questions are being asked by Gabriel. He's with the Liverpool manager.
Arne, thank you very much for joining us. 4-0 on aggregate, is that a fair reflection of the tie overall?
Depends on how you want to look at it. I don't think so. I think we got much more than we deserved last week by only losing 2-0. And that was same last season. And what was also the same as last season, that today we got much less than we deserved. Last season at home, we played an incredible game, should have won that game. And today, in my opinion, we should have won as well. But it's also the quality of them that they don't concede from all the chances we had. And then the finish of Dembele probably tells you why he won the Ballon d'Or and why that team has won the Champions League last season and has a good opportunity to win it again this season.
It does help to have your best players on the field, of course. Ugo Ekitike first. How is he?
Not too good. I think we could all see that it didn't look well and didn't look good.
Achilles, is that right?
Let's wait and see what it will be. But we could all see it didn't look good. And in the second half, he went home. So I haven't seen him yet. But losing a game is already very hard, especially in the way we lost it. But then again, as it seems to be, losing a player is something we've had so many times this season, but it's especially very hard for him because you never want to be injured, especially not at this moment of time in the season.
Yes, you need breaks as well when you have that momentum. Were you surprised to see the VAR get involved? Was it a clear and obvious error to award the penalty?
Depends. If you look at our season, I'm completely not surprised because so many decisions have gone against us this season that you're not surprised. For me, it's quite simple actually. If the referee doesn't give a penalty, the VAR would have never overturned it. But I've seen so many soft penalties being given, but then people say, VAR, you cannot interfere because I see contact, and that's what we clearly see, contact. But as I said, I don't think it's a surprise for us this season because not only in the Champions League, but definitely also in the Premier League, so many decisions have gone against us that you're not surprised. But last week there were two decisions that maybe went a bit in our favor, a penalty overturned, and one push in the back from Ibu that could have been given. So unfortunately we couldn't score a goal because this is a moment, but we had multiple chances in the second half and a big one in the first half for us to score a goal, and I think Anfield was rocking already at 0-0, let alone what would have happened if we would have scored the 1-0.
What have these two games told you about Liverpool's level against the best in Europe?
Last week was of course tough and very difficult, but I think we've showed that in a week time that we can improve a lot. And I think it's a big compliment to the players how they showed themselves today, knowing that we played 2 days ago as well, and the intensity that we played with today was incredible, and the players just kept on going even after we going 1-0 down, and that's a big compliment to them. We've generated more than enough chances, but as also so many times this season. If you look at XG, and that's something we all know what I'm talking about, we should have scored 2, but we didn't score 1, and that has happened far too many times this season with us.
So much expectation, of course, with the new signings. No trophies. Champions League qualification is the minimum. Would you agree for this group?
Yeah, of course. And that's where we have to play for now in the upcoming weeks. Said before the game that we had 88 minutes till now with Hugo, Alex and Florian on the pitch. How many did we add to that today?
30, 35, 36.
35.
Yeah.
I wonder how many minutes are there to come this season. So, but okay. The good thing is that Alex is back. He's able to make minutes. So yeah, that's the good thing.
And are you convinced with the squad you've got? Mo leaves, of course. The last Champions League night for him this evening. Andy Robertson is going. Are you convinced the group that you have will be good enough to reach the sort of levels that they've reached?
Now, I think much is being said recently, and maybe by many people also through this year, that the club is in a transition. We've sold 8, 10 players to recoup money to sign 4 or 5, 6 very talented and good players. And now we are losing Mo and Andy Robertson on a free transfer, as we lost Trent on a free transfer. And this model of the club means that we have to sell usually to buy. So it's a big challenge. It was already last season, and it's going to be a challenge in the summer again. But this club has also showed many times that this model works, and we can be very successful with this model. And I think we've signed, which you could see today, very good and talented players. Now let's hope that they all fit. They all go into most of them go into their second season in the Premier League. So as I said many times, the future looks really good, especially if we can add a few good signings after good players leaving as well this summer.
Thank you, Arne.
You're welcome.
What did you make of Arne Slot's demeanour there, Daniel?
He looked defeated, of course, and as you would be, you know, the expectations at the club are always going to be high. The level of football that we're used to seeing, and I think the quality they've shown over a long period of time shows where we're at, and I think the manager will feel as if he could have done better for sure. And the players, at the end of the day, they're the ones on the pitch. They know they could have done better, but it's the nature of football, and you know, it's what clubs like this demand. They demand high levels, season in, season out.
Clarence, same question to you. You've seen a lot of managers in these moments over your career. How does his demeanour compare?
No, I think he had a good composure. I think his analysis were the right analysis for the players to hear as well, because they still have matches to come. The season isn't over. I think all of this, sadness that is around the team, it also brings back the sadness of things that happened during the season. So pretty emotional moment, I think, for him as well, and as well as the players. So I think he managed well the interview, and respect for him in that sense. I think also he managed well the discussion on the penalties, right? Because last week, I think for sure one penalty could have go against. So at this point you're equal. And as we said before, you don't want to hang on that moment to say we should, we could have done or maybe won the match because of that. They were just inferior to PSG, and sometimes you have to admit when that happens.
A big Merseyside derby at the weekend, Wayne, to come. And that could be pivotal, couldn't it, in so many ways for Arne Slot?
Yeah, it could. And listen, I think Everton in form as well, but it's the first time in a long time that, I've spoke to some of my friends who are Liverpool fans, and they're a little bit worried about the Merseyside derby, about the 7th game. So, I'm just hoping.
You're making it up, Wazza?
All the pressure's on Everton now to win the game.
Yeah, listen, they can deal with that pressure, don't they?
They're the favourites.
Oh, yeah.
On form. But it is always an emotional game, and it's a game that, a lot hangs on. Does it feel like a lot more for Arne Slot hangs on that right now?
I think so. I think we're obviously the form. I think you touched upon it before in terms of Liverpool. Maybe the last month, I know the Galatasaray was a great result, but I don't think Galatasaray were great. So they've been turned over by Brighton. Was it Brighton they got beat by? They got beat by Man City. They got beat by.
That was in the FA Cup.
Yeah, but it's all them games. So I think Liverpool go into this game, as probably underdogs. I
17 defeats this season.
Underdogs? No.
No, I think
we're not doing that. We're not.
No. Yeah, we are. We are. Put pressure.
Nah.
But we're taking it away.
On Everton's form at the moment, Dan?
I'm just saying, like, come on, man. It's a derby. We know what derby days are all about. Let's not try and make out like now, all of a sudden Everton are in a good moment now. Liverpool are underdog. I mean, I know we're talking about pressure and stuff, but games like that, you don't need you don't need anything extra. What I'm saying is, you don't need anything extra to get up for a game like that.
You need players. You need players who are going to fight.
It's the best game you could possibly fight.
You need players who are going to fight, and we've seen this Liverpool team all season not give as much as they can, I believe, and I think this derby game on Sunday has come at the wrong time for Liverpool.
I agree.
I would disagree. I think when we had moments of exit as well in Champions League, and you would have a big team, a big game after, it would be so much easier to at least be emotionally involved in the right way. When you meet maybe a team mid-table after a defeat like this, I think it's so much harder. So of course you still need to do it, but mentally it was easier. So I don't know about you. Are you saying that you weren't motivated after?
I was very motivated, but I'm saying I think some of these players aren't.
Okay, let's get some reaction from PSG. Ousmane Dembele likes scoring against English clubs in the knockout stages of the Champions League. He's done it against English teams the last 5 times he's faced them, and he did it twice tonight. And let's hear from him with Alex.
Ousmane, félicitations pour la demi-finale. Congratulations through to the semi-finals. Comment vous sentez-vous? How are you feeling?
Très bien, on est content de passer ce tour. Voilà, on voulait venir ici à Anfield pour gagner aussi ce match. Et voilà, ça a été difficile, surtout en seconde période, mais voilà, on a réussi à gagner ce match. On est tous contents.
We're so happy that we were able to win this game because it was really difficult, especially the second half. But, well, we found a way to win and we're through to the semi-finals and we are delighted. Debut magnifique pour vous. Décrivez-les. 2 magnificent goals. Describe them for us.
Oui, surtout en deuxième période, ça partait un peu dans tous les sens. Sur le premier but, je voulais juste placer le ballon, cadrer ma frappe et voilà, ça a pu rentrer. Et sur le second but, Bradley fait un travail incroyable. Ce but, on l'a déjà vu plusieurs fois. Oui, émissaire, j'ai plus qu'à finir et voilà, je suis content.
Really happy with 2 brilliant goals for the first one. It was a great work from Kavica Kvaratskhelia to give me the assist, and then the second one was Bradley Barcola with some magnificent work, but I'm really happy with both of them. À ton avis, cette équipe est meilleure que l'année dernière et pensez-vous gagner la compétition? Do you think this is a better team than last season and can you win the competition again?
Je pense qu'on a le même niveau, on a cette fin de gagner des trophées. Et voilà, on va essayer d'aller au bout, on va jouer notre jeu jusqu'à la fin de la compétition et voilà, on espère en demi-finale passer aussi pour pouvoir jouer cette finale.
I think we're at the same level as we were at this time last season and hopefully we can get through to the final, win our semi-final and hopefully go on and achieve the same as last season and win it. Merci beaucoup et félicitations.
Merci.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, he, of course, is the Ballon d'Or winner and he is the match winner tonight for PSG. Scored many important goals. It was quite straightforward for him tonight, but let's have a look at his goals, shall we, Clarence?
Yeah, amazing. Actually, you have to give me credit on that one because I actually called him out today. I said I really hope he will upper his game because until now he didn't really make that big of a difference. But here we are.
First shot of this second half for PSG.
I mean, he's positioning always in a very dangerous place, right? And being left and right like he is, like it's absolutely the same thing for him, makes it very hard to defend him, right, in these situations. And anticipating his movement, you have to go for it because he can shoot absolutely in the same way with both legs. And here again, we have seen this during the whole match from Liverpool, in transition, making mistakes in the passing, and here again, totally free. But obviously, at this point, Liverpool already gave up completely, right?
Yeah, and we're talking about a team that gave absolutely everything tonight, but we're also talking about the current best player in the world, Ballon d'Or winner, who we know these moments for him are seeming to be a regular thing, you know, for him to just show up in big moments, score big goals, and show why he's the Ballon d'Or winner.
OK, let's hear from his manager, Luis Enrique, with Gabriel.
Luis, well done. You're used to defeating English clubs in the Champions League, of course, but where do you place this performance and this victory against Liverpool?
I don't know. What I can say is it was an intense match between 2 teams who played really good football, and it's an honor to play here at Anfield against that Liverpool, the Arne Slot. And I have to say, first half it was more for us because I think we controlled the match and we could create a few chances. Second half it was a different history. We suffered a lot. They pressed that high. They took a lot of risk, and it was difficult. But we could overcome their pressure 2 times and score 2 goals.
We talk a lot about Paris Saint-Germain's attacking play. Tonight, did we see the quality in your defending?
If you try to win those kind of match, you need to defend with the high intensity and defend as a team. And today we can show everybody that we are ready to play when we have the ball, on the ball, but when we don't have the ball, off the ball, we can do it.
Is that something you've improved? Is that why you go into the semi-finals this year even stronger than last year?
Well, I have to say it's a different history because last year everybody thought that we cannot win the Champions League because we were so young, and now everybody knows we are the champion, but we need to grow, and I think we can grow, and that's our objective.
Well done tonight.
Thank you.